Scrum Master or Agile Coach, these are very interesting journeys people want to have or achieve that particular destination as an Agile Coach. So a lot of people are actually wanting this to be Agile Coach, but sometimes they do not know, and there's no one answer actually. So sharing somebody their own experiences, that's really wonderful. So thank you so much, Ram, joining in and sharing your experiences. I hope lot many people would learn out of your experiences. So all over to you, Ram.
Sure. Thank you so much, Vijay, for a quick introduction about the topic. And I am really happy to be here, happy to share my experience. Once again, thanking you. I welcome everybody to this session. Next 45 minutes to 1 hour, let me just go about sharing my experience as an Agile coach, how I started my journey, and I'll share the agenda definitely. So let's keep it interactive. Any questions you have, as and when you get questions arise in your mind, please put it in the chat window. We'll take those questions towards the end of the session, maybe last 15 minutes. We'll keep it for a Q&A segment. We'll take those questions then. So with that said, let's move on. So this is how I have structured my experience sharing session. What to expect from this, who am I, and about my introduction to the Agile world and my first experiences as a Scrum Master and as well as an Agile coach. And what are my key learnings in the due course? I have made a lot of mistakes as well, and I've observed and learned from others' mistakes as well. And what are the approaches that I took in order to be wherever I am here today? I'm not saying that I have achieved everything. I'm still in the journey. I'm still learning. So I use this opportunity to share. I'm not an expert. I'm not here to teach anything here. I'm just here to, as I said, I'll share my experience. Probably that would help you in order to gain some insights from it and apply it in your journey, whether to become a Scrum Master or an Agile coach. So that's what we just now spoke about. Okay. Now, who am I? How I introduce myself is as I'm a passionate Agile practitioner, and I believe that the Agile philosophy can be implemented in the personal life too. I like to share a recent experience where it made me realize that I have been Agile in my life too. So last year, this goes back to 2020 November time frame, where all of us were got locked, being given an opportunity to work from home. Some of us enjoyed it, some of us might not have enjoyed that, but definitely towards the end of that year, I was literally getting I was not enjoying being locked in home or working from home. And also that was taking a toll on my health as well. I was putting on a lot of weight, and my fitness got really screwed. So that's when even my wife also started pushing me to take up some fitness activity at that point. So then I thought, let me take up cycling as one of the cycling as an activity that I can treat it as a fitness activity, and I started exploring what cycle to buy, and I ended up buying a bicycle. Now, without knowing much about how much to ride, how much distance I need to go, what speed I need to maintain, without knowing anything, I just started cycling. And gradually I started to increasing my speed, my distance. And in the meanwhile, I got introduced to a cycling group in my locality. I stay in Bangalore, South Bangalore. In my locality, I happened to see some of the few cyclists going by, and I approached, or rather, I got introduced to them. I started interacting. I observed them. I seek their help in improving my capability in riding long distances, and also I started measuring my progress using some lot of devices and apps that are available now, like Strava, it could be, or Amazfit, all that. And I started seeing how I'm progressing. And also I took some challenges in terms of riding 100 kilometers in 2 weeks or 800 kilometers in a month, like that. My aim was to go for a century ride, to make a century ride, like 100 kilometers in a stretch. And that happened after 3 months of my cycling, when I started my cycling journey. So when I closed this year, last year, 2021, in the last 1 year, when I look back, I have covered close to 4,700 kilometers in 165 rides. And on an average, it is coming to around 30 kilometers per ride. What I'm trying to say here is that when I look back and I started, when I got this invitation to talk here, and I started retrospecting whatever I have done, what to share here. And this story came to my mind where it made me realize that I have been agile in my approach in my life as well. So here, whatever I did was basically in my approach, I almost did everything that was required to demonstrate my agility. Basically, I inspected myself. I adapted to the changing scenario. Sometimes I used to go in a highly hilly area or elevated area, and sometimes where it was a very flat area, and I used to get stressed sometimes. There, sometimes I used to enjoy and also plan every ride. Over the weekends, we used to go on a very long rides, and I measured and monitored my progress. I retrospected. I took feedback from my fellow riders. So all these things helped me improve wherever I am today. Again, my plan is to further take it to a next level as a taking that cycling as a hobby or a passion. So having said this, this is my personal story, in my life, how I have been able to adapt or implement those agile philosophies. Now, coming back to my personal, professional experience or a career, what I have been doing, I've been in the IT industry for the last 23 years, where I've been responsible for multiple software delivery programs, and I've delivered most of the, in the first half of my career was typically into waterfall, execution models that I was, used, and later half has been totally into agile base. So currently working now as an agile coach with a global fintech company. So having said this, let me just move on to how I started, how I got introduced to my, how I got introduced to the agile world. So this goes back to year 2007 or 8 time frame, where I was accidentally attended a Scrum training in my organization, and I got curious about the ways of working, the way Scrum framework was used in project delivery. And it looked very simple to me, and I got really interested in that in agile way of working. And I approached my then manager to move me to a agile project. I was, throughout my career, I have been into, so far into service organization itself. So I moved on to a different project. And then, there I was a automation engineer. As an automation engineer, I was in a Scrum team. Then what really struck me, I observed, is that what I learned in the training and what I was observing on the ground was totally different. And there was a mad rush in delivering fast in 2 weeks. And it was really confusing me. And, I was like totally taken aback. Oh, this is, agility or agile way of working is not just about getting trained in Scrum that could make, that would make me an agile practitioner. That's one thing that quickly I learned about it. And I'll also cover some of the other challenges towards in the due course of this presentation, or in experience sharing, what are the other challenges that I encountered. Now, this was something which, this is how I got into the agile world. And then came a first breakthrough, or my first experience as a Scrum Master. So I worked, as I said, I worked in the service organization for most of my career. Then I was transitioning from a QA manager role. I wanted to move away from QA manager role, and then I was in 2011, probably around that time frame. I was assigned. I took up the Scrum Master role. By then, I had got trained and I had got a couple of certifications. Then I thought, okay, let me see how I can test myself as a Scrum Master. It was a new product development project that I was assigned, and the team was fairly new to Agile, to Scrum, and the client was fairly experienced at that time. So my main task was to orient the entire team on Agile philosophy and Scrum principles. And what happened was, soon I realized that it was not just about creating the awareness about agility or training on the Scrum practices. It was more to that, because I realized that I had to wear different hats as a Scrum Master also. I had to train them, I had to coach them, I had to mentor on certain practices, I had to teach them, and I had to facilitate all the different discussions, meetings, and within the along with the customer. And here in this case, I trained the team at that point in time on all the Scrum practices, and also guided them on story estimation. That was story definition to story splitting to story estimation. So that was something which was a first-hand experience for me, where I was able to help the team in helping them about the story estimation. Now, when I look back, it looks very simple. It looks that that team was very easy to me, or probably I was lucky enough to get such a team, because we were able to deliver the project well on time, and everything went well. But later, when I moved on to different projects as Scrum Masters, I started seeing a lot of challenges. Though my first experience was good, then I started realizing when I moved on to other projects, where the resistance from the delivery managers, the product managers, and the teams, and it was really coming, I was finding it a little difficult to deal with it. And I thought being pushy, prescribing something or making the team follow certain things by commanding certain things, thought it would work. But that was, I thought by doing that, I would be doing justice to my job. No, that was not the case, because I started at that point in time, I started realizing that Scrum Master was not considered, was not respected within the team, because they thought that this guy is an obstacle. That's how I was perceived. I was feeling literally frustrated. This was really taking a toll on my emotions, and I was completely disappointed to play this role. That's when I found a coach, a coach who I approached to help me out in this in these kind of scenarios, how to go about. The coach really helped me. He was outside of the organization, but this coach made me realize what are my real strengths. How do I go about handling? What are my real belief system? What is that I really need to pay attention to in order to gain the confidence? So when I started working with the coach, then I realized how to handle some of the tough situations with the teams. So one of the lessons that I learned is, or rather I would recommend is, we need to have coaches, coach or coaches in our lives in order to overcome some of the challenges that we encounter. So far, it has been as a Scrum Master, and then later I almost 5 or 6 years ago, I got an opportunity to take up a role of an Agile Coach. It was again in a service organization where I was asked by the customer CTO to play the role of an Agile Coach for his program. So in this case, what was different compared to my Scrum Master role was, in the Scrum Master, when I was playing the role of a Scrum Master, I always wanted to work with the leadership team and see how I could influence my, whatever I want to bring in as a change, or help the team embrace the change. I was not able to do that because that connectivity or the connection with the leadership team was not there. And that was also not, I was not enjoying then. But when I took up this role, this really helped me or made me work with the leadership team very closely, where I was involved in the defining the overall objective for the transformation. And also I was onboarded when I was onboarded, I was quite excited about this particular role, where I thought I would be in a position to explore my coaching capabilities, and I thought I would make a difference. That didn't happen. The expectations here were more of reducing the lead time. The cycle time was the release time was almost 6 months. It was it had to be reduced by at least by 50% and improve the customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction was very bad. The score was very bad, and also to improve the quality. Of course, these two were interrelated. So these were the high-level 3 objectives that were there for this particular transformation engagement. Again, when I was introduced to the team, a lot of resistance that came from the engineering managers and the product managers, because they, I was not allowed to interact with the team at all. They, it was more of, I realized that there was a threat. Probably they saw me being in that role. So it was again not a good situation to be in at that point in time. So then what I did was I really had to work with these people, these 2 key roles, engineering and the product leaders, to understand what is that really working, or what is that really, how I can add value to them, how I can help them in, succeed, help them succeed. It took some time, definitely, but this was the biggest challenge for me, was the middle management. The reason was, these guys, middle management was not at all taken into consideration, or they were not considered in the decision making of the when this transformation engagement or the initiative was decided for this particular program. However, what happened in the first stint as a in this role, though I was able to make some traction, or make some progress in improving the lead time, or reducing the lead time, and also help the customer satisfaction, but I was not enjoying being there, because I was not exploiting my own coaching capabilities. I was not able to help, or I was not able to realize, I was not able to make them realize what is it in that particular how do I take them to in the direction of the transformation objective. That was a very difficult experience that I had in this particular assignment. However, when the engagement was over, by the time the satisfaction score was relatively, it was improved. I think close to 40-45% of the score was improved, and the lead time was reduced by 40%. So after this, once this happened, I was really feeling that I really had to do something different, and in the sense, I was not doing complete justice to my role as an agile coach. And that's when I really had to take a help of a coach who was able to help me in what exactly agile coaching is, in terms of being empathetic. How do I need to be listening? How do I need to help the teams realize their own potential? So working closely with the team, and also not being very prescriptive. This was something which was very difficult in my initial days. So slowly I was able to adapt and put that into practice. So later, let me share the recent experience. Currently, I'm associated with the one of the global fintech company as an agile coach, where here it is. It's been almost 2 years now. Almost 2 years I have been in this transformation engagement, where I have been responsible for the APAC region, where I'm working with the portfolio, product, and engineering leaders in multiple different portfolios. So basically, I'm working on close to the size close to 2,000 people in this particular organization. So before I continue further, is it really making sense? Are you guys able to relate, or is there anything that I am not able to connect with you? if there is anything that you would like to share about what I am sharing my experience this year.
Good, Ram. It's a good to hear from you. One quick question from your, yes. You were saying that you brought down lead time from 6 months, right? What was being done from that A to B?
Wonderful. Good question. In fact, the release cycle. So one of the first thing that I did at that point in time was to help them, define the value stream. What was their value stream? What all was involved in from inception to the consumption? What are the different activities that we're doing? So once we went onto a whiteboard and made them realize who are all involved, what are the activities, and how much time that is spent in moving from one phase to another phase. So when that exercise was done, again, it was not a one-day activity. So once we started realizing, one thing that came out very glaringly was that in order to approve one request, the legal and security team were taking at least 2 to 3 weeks. And that's something which they were not even aware of. In fact, they thought that that's how it would work. And that was not even in their awareness, because when this value stream was defined, or when these guys were working in this entire flow, they were not made part of this. It was like they considered that they're an external entity, and they had their own reasons to work on it and give the approvals on these areas. And once everybody sat together, including the leadership team from all these departments, then they realized the delay that's causing and how to enhance that, how to improve that, and how to reduce that. We worked on it. And that 2 weeks was suddenly brought down to almost 2 to 3 days. That was a quick fix, which they were not even aware of it. Why it was taking time? Because it was always used to be, okay, once it is legal, it would take at least 2 to 3 weeks. That's how it was considered, executed all the time. It was just eliminating a waste. It was very quick to fix that. But in order to bring everybody onto the same page about that, it took some time, definitely.
Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Okay, so any other questions anybody has? I'm sorry, there are some. Well, not to forget your multiple Bangalore. Okay, you're able to connect it. Okay, it's definitely yes, absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Avinash. Yes, definitely is how we make the yes, one need, the coach has to be a storyteller, definitely. Otherwise, if you are not able to make the other person, or make the teams or make the leadership team realize the impact of it by doing it or not doing it, otherwise we will not be able to take them into confidence. So let me quickly come back to the recent engagement that I was talking about, where it was we started with this particular fintech company in the month of 2020, December, October, November timeframe, where they started with the first phase, where it was very clear. They had a clear-cut. I'll share the. The organizational vision was this for them to come up with the customer centricity, where show up as one company to customer, and simplicity and accountability. So these three were the 3 pillars of this vision, organizational vision for this company. And what happened was, once we started with this, this was the first this particular engagement was 3-phased approach. In the first phase, it was more about deriving the vision and pilot it with one of the portfolio. Whatever learnings that we got from the first phase, we moved on to the next phase, where all these key learnings were implemented, and we made some course corrections to this was the approach that was taken in order to execute the first phase, where we would connect, observe, share, and improve, where we the objective was to build the the wow here is ways of working. So each organization has its own naming convention, or they name the initiative. So in this organization, it was named as a wow initiative. It is nothing but ways of working. So the objective was to build the champions in the portfolios in each of the programs, so that they can drive this going forward. So our responsibility as coaches was to enable and empower these individuals to become wow champions, so that they can take it forward. And we were also expected, or rather we were to observe the events and capture the observations, share the insights with the team, and come up with the improvement action plan, so that they can take it forward and come up with a coaching plan. Basically, we came up with a coaching plan. I'll show you that in the upcoming slide, how the coaching plan looked like. So this was how the first phase was planned. But what happened was, in the first phase, when the first phase we completed the first phase, we were moving on to the second phase. When we did the retrospective along with the leaders, it came out to be like the feedback was the team did not really like the entire organization, or rather the entire portfolio did not like the coaching that was. They felt that they were being enforced. They were not able to take the benefit, or they were not really keen on taking that. They felt that it was too much of a that it was too much of a push on them. They were pushed to do that. So what happened in the second phase, the course correction was made, where all the training content was digitized. And again, in the first phase, it was more of we going and training them in person. That was taking a lot of time. It was impacting their deliverables, and it was impacting the releases. That was the main concern. So we took the feedback, and in the second phase, we made the course correction, where all these training were digitized, bite-sized trainings that were, videos were created, and they were driven by the L&D team of that organization, where the team was able to take at their own pace. They were able to go ahead and take those trainings, get used to it, and get a common understanding of the agile taxonomy, or have a common understanding. And then we used to do the check-ins based on, before that we used to do the assessment, team assessment. In the beginning of the, it was a 5 months project and a 5 months duration. In the first month, we baseline. I'll show you that, how it looked like. Yeah, this is how we did the first on different parameters. We baselined the teams on these parameters. The yellow color talks about the baselining, the first in the beginning of the month, where the teams assess themselves. How are they doing against? You saw this slide right here. Customer centricity, simplicity, and accountability. They were further broken down here. Customer centricity is all about backlog, sprint planning, daily stand-up and all. And here, this is all about the demo frequency, user validation. They were all about simplicity. And the last one is about accountability. So this is how it was completely divided. And the teams assessed themselves. And we also observed as coaches. And wherever they also felt they are not doing good, and we also observed, let's say, initially it was more of, here it looked like, it was more of retrospective or something which was, they felt they were not doing good. And we also found that they were not practicing retrospective at all. And we asked them to come up with an action plan, how to go about conducting an effective retrospective. And the wow champions were oriented, the specific tool was identified, and at org level, and the teams were asked to conduct the retrospectives at the end of each sprint. And that was how we went ahead and helped them identify their areas of improvement, and also help them follow implement those improvement actions in the upcoming sprints. And that's how it was done. And every month in between, we conducted the check-ins. Basically, we conducted the check-in with the leadership team, to show them the progress about how the teams are progressing on the overall training and how the teams have committed to some of the improvement actions that they have agreed to take and the result of those actions. So intermittently, we conducted 3 check-ins in 5 months period so that the leadership team was able to see the progress and the teams were also able to align themselves to the overall transformation objective. So again, it was more of a pull based. As I said, in the first phase, the teams felt that they were pushed. So in this case, we said that we will conduct the workshops based on your need. We will say that these are the different workshops that might help you, but you need to approach us when we need to get these conducted. It was more of the ownership was on the WOW champions or on the teams to take the help from the coaches rather than we going and telling that these are the programs or the workshops that we would like to conduct. So it was more driven by the team. The ownership was given to the team. Yeah, so this is how the coaching activities were conducted, and it was more of a pull based. And finally, the readouts happened on towards the end of the program, where the WOW champions would present to the leadership team, the VPs or the senior VPs or the senior directors of the portfolio. They would be presented about the progress that they have made and the improvement actions that they have taken and the results that they have produced. So that's how it went. And finally, the success criteria for the entire program was, we had a graduation criteria defined where we said that these are the different areas on which we would assess them, like foundational understanding, like the training. Have they completed the training? And as a product team, do they have a 6-pager, like about what they really want the teams to go ahead and implement? What is the need? What are the requirements? How the user stories and the epics are defined, features are decomposed. So whether do they really have the product vision in place? And these are all engineering metrics where different whether the metrics are identified and whether the the backlogs are there or not, and how the ceremonies are conducted, the cadence is established or not. All these were agreed and they were measured towards the end against these categories. And if they have done all of these, that means the leadership team would get a confidence that they have understood and they would be in a position to take it forward going forward as well. So any questions so far before I move on to my key learnings?
Ram, quick question. In the spider diagram,
yes, please.
You were saying sprint retrospective is not as planned or as expected, but this yellow line is considered to be the baseline, right?
It went down. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Yes, this blue line has gone down because
so they are doing better, right? You're saying it
should
is
have been
not
better. Agreed.
Yes,
it should have been better. Agreed. But the point here is we also did a retrospection on this point as well. What made the team say that they are not doing well now? One of the insights that we derived here is that the tool, they were not able to use the tool very effectively. The tool was not effective or user friendly for them to go ahead and conduct the retrospectives using the tool. One of the main reasons. Earlier they were using manually they were doing it, or using the Miro board or Mural, they were doing it. But when the tool was introduced, it was not quite effective, and there was a resistance in using that. That's the reason it came down, in fact, and that was one of the insights that we derived. And here also, demo and review also, initially they were doing really well, but what happened was here for the demo, one of the I'll show you that how this demo we would know that they have done well. What was the definition of done for this demo? I'll show you the in the upcoming slide. I have it.
What is meant by PR merge time, meaning what? PR merge time.
Pull request merge time. Pull request. How much time?
So what activity is taken care there? What activity is done?
It's all about how do I go about my changes being merged to the base. whether the reviews are happening or not, how much time it takes. Typically earlier it was taking almost 2 days for them to make this, my changes, our changes, engineers changes getting into the main branch. It was taking through a lot of reviews. They were not using any automated tools in between. It was taking manually. They used to do that in order to merge it with a different program, let's say, and a different team. It was taking a lot of time. So they had to improve that. Basically, they had to improve.
Okay.
That was taking a lot of time. It's all, again, it's specific to this particular program where, they had, whether they had MVP or not, user validation, demo frequency was initially, there's no significant improvement here though, but what, we observed is that they were able to come to that, but they had not taken many actions, what was required to be taken as improvement actions that they had committed. I think somebody asked a question here. Have you followed SAFe here? Okay, it's a very good question. The point is, in my experience, I have seen that some of these organizations don't like to use SAFe, the word SAFe or any of the terminologies that the SAFe uses. They have a mapping terminology for it. In this case, they don't use the word PI planning. They used QEP, quarterly execution plan. In some way or the other, it was falling under the SAFe framework, but not using the word SAFe anywhere.
So that means, Ram, they are using Spotify or customized to Spotify?
Their own framework. It was like their specific framework. I don't want to take the name because I'm bound by NDA. So their own, the same organization's framework, they call it as.
Okay, Ram, one clarification. This Vijay, this particular chart, radar chart, it has a lot of components and it has baseline and final. So what is the chart title? It's about the maturity level of the organization, or?
No. It's nothing to do with the maturity of the organization. It's about the maturity of that particular program or a particular portfolio where it doesn't say anything much here. I mean, it doesn't brand anything here. It talks about, for example, if you take, let's take the retrospective or the continuous improvement or customer satisfaction itself here. Initially, they were doing certain, okay, I'll do one thing. Rather than explaining it here, I'll take you through. One second, give me a moment.
So what is the frequency of this chart, Ram?
It happened twice. It happened twice in the cycle. I'll show you.
In a cycle, which is a quarter?
Once in the beginning, and next it happened towards the end of the engagement. Fifth month, towards the end of fifth month.
No, what is that cycle meaning over here? 3 months, 3 months? Is that 1 quarter or a year, or what's the cycle meaning over here?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
The frequency.
I think I mentioned fifth. I think it's a half yearly maybe.
Correct. See, the engagement was 5 months. The engagement was for 5 months. The baselining done in the first month, and after the team went through the entire coaching, the training, and the entire program. Towards the end, again, this assessment was done.
Okay.
Just to see what is the value that the team felt that they have got it, or as coaches, what we observed as from the team in the due course of this engagement.
Got it. Okay.
So next quarter we are changing our baseline as well?
No. We're not changing anything here. Again, probably they might conduct once again. Again, it's up to the world champions. We handed it over.
Because it is a continuous improvement. Team will gradually grow. But
we have to see.
Then if it is not, baseline is not improved, then what is the point for doing baseline? Baseline if it remains same every quarter.
The baseline, it is the first time it is done. That's the first time. From there on, ideally we should see it improving. From there on, we have to see it improving every time, right?
Yeah, ultimate goal is out of 0 to 4 scale, everything should be 4. Then we can say that team is highly matured kind of thing, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Ram,
Even there is a possibility category may be added, correct? On the after the second half of the year. Basically, in the radar chart, we can see, like, for example, 12 items we are seeing, correct? In the 12 areas, we are checking the maturity. So we may add one more category also.
Probably.
Quite possible. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely possible. Again, that's what is all about inspecting and adapting, right? So probably one might come back and say that, this particular measure is bullshit. I don't want even to measure myself.
We may add and remove. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly what is agility all about.
Ram, when you say the cycle is for 6 months, it doesn't come under agility. Agility is on and off. Periodical review, introspect, everything has to happen. And you say at times as QEP, quarterly evaluation plan program, something. Quarterly is 3 months, but 6 months, where does the time frame come in picture?
No. I'm sorry. I think I confused you. What I meant by QEP is this is a PI planning. I'm talking about the PI planning.
Okay, PI planning or QEP is all quarterly.
They are
But 6 months time frame does not have any synchronization between QEP and the 6 months of cycle time, right?
Okay. You are going back to the radar chart here, right? You're going back to the radar chart and saying that how it is.
You told the time frequency. When I asked about time frequency, it is on the 5th month or the beginning and the last month of the cycle time. You told that is 6 months, but you do review for every quarterly. That is nothing but PA planning, or now you call it as QEP or ABC something. But what you quoted here is QEP means it is for 3 months time frame. That is what equal to that of PA planning. But this radar is for 6 months time. Initially, you start with the baselining, and again you go with the review of what happened in the past 6 months, which doesn't fall into the agility.
Okay. So the objective of doing this assessment is to see where they stand. They can do it at any point in time. Just to see how the progress is happening, how the teams are progressing on these parameters. They can do it at any point in time, because the reason being, now I do it in the first month. Probably I might do it. The teams decide to do that after every 3 months. In this engagement, in the coaching engagement, since it was for 5 months, we did it one in the beginning of the month, and the last one we did towards the end of the engagement. Only from the coaching engagement perspective. Going forward, it is up to the teams to decide when they want to do it, whether they want to align it for the PI planning cycle or what. It's up to them. They can do it when they want to measure themselves and see the progress, take actions accordingly.
Okay.
So
I think as a agile coach, we can observe the team's maturity. If it is a PT new team, then we can keep longer interval. If it is a highly mature team, then we can reduce the interval, right? Means that is the right approach.
Absolutely.
Ram, I'm Khanapuri here.
Yes, please. Yes, Mr. Khanapuri. Please.
I have 2 questions. As per that spider diagram, one question is the addressing the bias. That is also considered as a low parameter on the top left side.
So yes, here, right? Okay. This is something. Okay, you're talking about this addressing the bias, right?
Most complicated thing, how we can make people to come out of biases.
Okay, here the bias was, in this particular context, the definition of bias here was, it was all about justice by design, in the sense, how do we handle gender? How do we handle, let's say, it is more from a product design perspective. How do I make sure that even a colorblind person can handle my application? How do we make sure that there is no racism, being called out, or that causes any challenges there? How do we handle gender? So that is the bias that I'm talking about here from the product design perspective.
Exactly.
So the challenge. I'm sorry, tell me please.
Exactly. I am also in sync with you. Exactly.
Okay. So here the challenge was, we had to conduct some product trainings to the product team to go about come up with the product designs. There was a separate academy that was introduced to help the product managers and product owners to address this. So initially, when we did this training, or when we started this engagement, this was very low. If you look at it, even the baseline was 2.6. They didn't, most of them didn't even know what it was. And once through the training, they realized that, oh, okay, this is what it is. And there is definitely a scope for them to improve on. And that's where we design some specific training programs and for the product teams to address this particular aspect.
Okay, thank you.
Ram,
And another quick question. So definitely, you told about the improvement points. I want, can you give one or two important points where you have very high parameters like sprint planning and continuous improvements? What are the best practices followed here?
Okay. Definitely. I can talk about it, definitely. So in the sprint planning, they felt that they were doing really well. In fact, okay. When we observed, in fact, I was closely working with one of the teams very closely. I realized that they had a lot of scope for improvement, because one of the challenge that they were doing was story splitting itself was not happening properly, because of which the slippage or the spillovers were more. Specific workshops we conducted helped them realize how can they split the stories which they can accomplish within the sprint itself. So that was one of the specific action that we took, or help them help the product teams in terms of splitting the story, and also help the engineering teams or the developers in order to size them properly, also in the sense because sometimes what they used to do was the story definition and story splitting. These two are totally different. Splitting used to happen rather than doing vertically, they were doing horizontally. Like, okay, I'll do only UI development in this sprint. I'll do only coding in this sprint, testing in another sprint, like that. So that mentality, that mindset had to be changed so that they can deliver a story meeting the definition of done. Helping them realize what the definition of done is was a very, very, very tough task. It was a very tough task, because they always used to feel that, okay, testing team will do in the next sprint, testing will happen in the next sprint. That's how they were in that mode. Once we help them in story definition, story splitting, estimation, and helping them come up with the definition of done and also definition of ready, all these things, it helped them improve their say-do ratio, or improve their velocity. They used to always divide the story points. Okay, if the story was of, let's say, 5 story point, I'll take a credit only for 2, because the remaining testing or the other activity has not happened. I'll take the credit in the upcoming sprint. This mentality, this mindset had to be changed.
Thank you.
Okay, in the best interest of time, what I'll do is I'll quickly jump on to my key learnings, because we have only 8 more minutes. Is that okay? All right. So one thing, in the last at least 10 years where I have been working in the Agile world, one thing that I have realized is that as Agile coaches, it's not just about letting others follow Agile philosophy. We also need to practice that. Only then we will be in a position to do justice to our job also, and it helps our life also. And second thing is, leadership buy-in is a must. And I made this mistake in initially, where without taking the buy-in, and I was trying to work within the at the team level, where teams were accommodating, teams were following, but the leadership team was totally in a different plane, and it didn't go well. And I had a very terrible experience. And second thing is, taking the middle management into confidence is also very critical. I think I shared that experience as well. And helping the teams understand the objectives and outcomes of the transformation initiative. That is very, very important. If the team is not aware of it, let's say the teams didn't know, they were, it's not about they are measured on those areas, but their performance was not measured against those. But as a team, how they effectively they are delivering value to meet the organizational objective. The 3 pillars as the organization had, accountability, customer centricity, and simplicity. How are they aligned their value delivery to that goal? Getting them understand that was very important. And training requirements to be derived collectively. I can't go ahead and say that you guys need this training, you better take this training. No, you need to understand, work with them, be empathetic, listen to them, observe them. This is something which I learned the hard way. And recommendations, yes, we need to give recommendations. I gave recommendations at places they were like outrightly rejected. But the moment I shifted the focus on the impact of it, the positive impact, basically whenever I'm making a recommendation, it has to add some value to them. The more I moved on to the impact of that recommendation, there was a acceptance. And have a working agreement. We need to have a working agreement in the whatever meetings or whatever discussions that you're getting into it. Have a working agreement for that. What we would do and what we wouldn't do, or what we will not do. So have that agreement. If there is anything that anybody is deviating, the Scrum Master or as an Agile coach, help them realize, show the mirror, say that, hey guys, we will park these things, we'll move on. It's what we have agreed. Let's move ahead. Elmo. Like that. And value stream management. This is something which I found it to be a key learning for me. So that's one thing which as I explained in the beginning, this really helped me in cutting down the waste by almost by 30%. And some of the my approaches when I learned these things, what are the approaches that I took? One is definitely certifications help. I have a lot of certifications, but certifications, don't do the certification just because I would get a job. No, certifications is only to get the knowledge. And one key thing or key learning for me in this certification program is I got connected with some amazing people. And I learned so many things from those in that network. I believe that network is net worth. So do the certification programs so that you get connected, you learn, but don't do the certification just because you would get a job or it would help you get a promotion. No, that's not the expectation one should have. I'm sure you would agree with me. And attend a lot of community meetups. And this is one thing which I did 8 years ago. There, at least then it used to be offline, every Saturday, Sunday, one way or the other, one place or the other, there used to be some meetups in some companies. And I used to go and attend, I used to get connected, and I learned so many things. And where I got an opportunity to share my experiences, share my views, that was a platform. And again, this is also one more platform where I have been able to do that. So this community, being in the community really helps. And LinkedIn is an amazing platform. Utilize that, leverage that. And one more thing that I did, this is something which I did in my previous organization, was I set up a community of practice for agility, where I was sharing my views on a weekly basis. I was conducting some workshops, whether somebody comes or not, but I was creating my visibility within my organization. And that helped me, enhance my confidence in the organization as well. And these are the recent books that I have read, or I'm still in the process of reading it. Amazing books. Coach the Person, Not the Problem. Responsive Agile Coaching. It's an amazing book. Don't miss it. And Making Questions Work. One of the key job of an Agile coach is ask questions, powerful questions. By asking powerful questions, you will make the other person think, retrospect, and come up with his own solution. Asking powerful questions. This is an amazing book. And I was always, surrounded by like-minded people like you. I'm really thankful to the community that I am in, and I'm connected with a lot of people. And again, many people are there in this group also with whom I'm connected. Where I took inspiration, I got coached, and I got mentored as well. And this is something which is really important. I'll show you quickly. I'll show you. And this is the last one. Read this report regularly. 15th annual state report. Give me a moment. I'll quickly show it to you. What's that? Okay. Let me know if you're able to see the screen. This is an amazing report. This will help you realize where you stand in the community, or in the agile world. This survey is conducted regularly, considering different organizations, different demographies, and how agility is being perceived by different organizations, how the adoption is happening. Based on this, you can make your own decisions about your learning, about your job hunting, everything. You can do that. Now, how the rest of the world looks like without even being part of that organization, you can see how agility is being practiced or agility is being adopted in different organizations. What are the different challenges that others are facing, and what are the techniques, about the maturity, and what are the different tools that are being used, and how the scaling is being perceived, tooling, everything. This really gives you, if you study this, you can make a lot of decisions in your life about taking up agile coaching as a career. Am I done? One second. Okay. Oh, all right. Yes. So this is what I wanted to share. Any questions? I think we are on time. Any questions?
In the radar chart, there is one frequency of the demo frequency. So you are checking on first month, and after 5 months you are checking, correct? So there is no much progress because as an agile coach, you might have looked into this and you might have helped the team addressing this, because 3.85 to 3.87.
Okay, so here what happened is, I'm not saying that they are perfect here. They were doing what they were earlier and what they are, or like towards the end of the engagement, not much of a improvement that we saw. The frequency, it's not just about the frequency. Okay, I think I told you that I would show you that particular this one, right? Okay. So how much time I have, Vijay?
It's 8:30 we finished, but you can take some more time if you wish to, and people are actually having certain questions.
Sure. So what I'll do is, okay, so demo frequency, right? Let me know if you're able to see the screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the Kanban board, or rather, this is the coaching plan that we had created. For example, in your case, you said that backlog refinement, or where was that used to come? Okay, so here one of the items, each of the pillar had the KPIs broken down. Each how do we know what simplicity means? And each of these items had the individual outcomes to produce. Now, from the your question was on demo frequency, right? It was not just about the number of times that they are producing, how the stakeholders are invited, whether the feedback is properly being captured or not, and how the demo is, what is the success of a demo, whether the team is able to demo the definition, met the definition of done, or acceptance criteria are being walked through in the demo or not. So all those parameters are taken into consideration when we are saying that the demo frequency is met or not, in the radar chart.
But below baseline is not a good indication, right? It is supposed to be increased.
They didn't make much of an improvement. They were where they were and where they reached towards the end of the program. They didn't make a much significant progress there. We came up with recommendations in that area, how to do effective demo, how to conduct effective sprint demos or sprint reviews need to be conducted. We came up with a specific improvement plan for that particular.
Ram, one more thing on the baseline, even when you are taking on the first month, correct, it will be done by the agile coach rather than asking the teams where are they, correct?
No, it has to be mutual. It has to be what the team also feels. It's not just about the agile coach alone going ahead and doing conducting just observing them. It's what the team feels about where they stand at this point in time, and what the coach also observes. The coach's observations are shared regularly. As I told you, right? Regularly, we used to conduct a check-in program with the leadership team. Before that, we used to talk to these champions or these leaders in the due course, where we used to share those observations, and we used to tell them that you say that you are here, but actually you may be doing really good or you are not doing really good. That conversation used to happen very, very regularly.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I know it's a Saturday evening and I took more time.
One thing I observed on the sprint plan, daily stand-up, demo, review, retrospective, continuous improvement, everywhere the final after 5th month was lower than the baseline, meaning the first month. So that means, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah. So maybe you can provide some insights on that. Yeah.
Okay. This team realized they initially thought that they were doing really good, and they rated themselves, let's say, on let's take retrospective. I'll take it, or let's say demo itself. They thought they were doing really good. Initially, they thought they were not really doing good. Okay, they were at 3.7, but after going through the training program, they realized that what they were doing, they lacked too many things. That's the reason they self-assess themselves to be low.
Okay, thanks, Ram.
That also happened when we retrospected, when we talked to the team. Hey, what made you rate low in these cases? And some of the feedback that we got is, hey, now we know how a demo needs to happen. Now we know, or rather, how a daily stand-up really needs to be conducted. There is a gap in the way we are approaching, and that's exactly what was coincided with our observation notes in this case. Does that make sense?
Yes, Ram. Thanks for the insights.
So, Ram, do you mean to say that assessment has been done, self-assessment by the team, or is that tool-driven automatically, like in Jira, we pull out the reports? Would that happen automatically, or is it a self-assessment on need basis, or how it is done? How
it was a survey. That was a survey questions. Like, we we didn't use SurveyMonkey, but I think in MS Teams or in MS Teams, through MS Teams, we kicked off a survey. We captured the inputs from around 13 questions were there, 13 or if I remember correctly, 15 questions were there. We captured and we analyzed and we go.
15 questions. No, sorry, 15 questions were specific to each of the Scrum ceremonies. Say, for example, daily Scrum happens every day, or sprint planning. Without sprint planning, you cannot proceed further. So those things, what are the data points you capture? How it has been, on what basis?
Okay, I got you. So here it is more of how are they doing, what they feel about their experience about let's say a sprint planning is happening. Whether they agree to, for example, daily stand-up. Are they really doing conducting as per those 3 questions? Do they really believe that those 3 questions are really important, or they're doing in a different way? Or multiple choices questions were given for each of those ceremonies. So that's when we realized what their belief system is all about against each of those ceremonies, each of the practices that we're doing, and we collated the data. And it was not just based on those questions. A lot of analysis that happened, a lot of conversations that happened with the leaders to really understand what the real challenge is in those areas.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much for Vinayak, Vijay. Yeah, thank you so much for acknowledging that. I really appreciate. Any questions you have, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, let me just quickly share my last page. Yeah, thank you so much. This is where you can connect with me on LinkedIn or on email and phone number.
Yeah, Ram, thank you so much. It was really wonderful session. Especially journeys helps a lot because there are a lot of frameworks and knowledge available on the internet. But there is a human aspect to it. There's some success and failures attached to it. There is some journey attached to it. How did you handle or tackle that? Gives a lot of confidence to other people, and this experience sharing helps you a lot, especially with your experience of over 24 years, right?
Yes, 23.
Ram? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that's, I think you're one of the most experienced person in this room. I seriously don't know how many people are more experienced more than 24 years, but generally I see the general experience age is roughly around 10 to 18 years. Yeah, so that really helps, Ram. Thank you so much. As you said, experience, I mean, certifications does not really help give you job, but a little bit of experience, knowing different frameworks, the
Yes.
process frameworks, how to measure different things from the experiences, kind of, yeah. So similarly, we also do agile certifications that are related to making agile coaches, knowledge aware, especially CAT and ENT, coaching agile transition and enterprise transition. So we also do it. If you are interested, you can join us. I have already given a link. With that, I would say thank you so much, Ram. This would be published on our YouTube channel maybe by Monday. Yeah, so you can actually take benefit of it. You can also share it with your friends if they have missed it. So once again, thank you so much, Ram. We would like to have you again for more in depths, because I see.
I think Ram, we lost Vijay Vade.
For us to understand from you, especially in-depth implementation of it. I believe this time it was like high level, macro level view. Maybe if people actually comment on it, we would like to go more deeper inside it sometimes.
Sure, definitely. I would love to be part of it, and I'm more than happy to share my experience if it is going to help help you all. So, and in fact, it's not just about that. I'm also more keen to learn. As I said, I'm a keen learner, and in fact, some of the questions that were asked really helped me retrospect myself and think about it. And these kind of interactions are really required. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Hi Ram, yeah, definitely it's a great presentation. Very challenging topic. You have taken it and presented it. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Thank you, Vijay. Thank you so
Your
much.
email ID ramnath@gmail.com. It's totally unique. Any particular reason?
No, it's not unique. Pay attention that. No, it's Ramanath and
I'm saying this very interesting topic because in today's world, especially